It's a really big year for the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. The Detroit Treasure is celebrating 60 years of preserving and honoring the Black experience. The museum is going to commemorate the momentous occasion at the Wright Gala on Saturday, October 11th. I spoke with Kevin Davidson, the Wright's longtime director of design and fabrication services, about the museum's rich history and his personal connection to the founder. Kevin, welcome to American Black Journal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's start with your history with the Wright, which goes back quite a ways. Not quite 60 years, but the majority of that, right? How did you come to the museum?
I actually was introduced to the museum in 1980, and I was on loan, placed on loan to the museum from the Detroit Council of the Arts at the time to work on an exhibit that focused on Black insurance companies. And we completed that project, and I went on, and I got a call from the museum in 1982, and Dr. Wright wanted me to come in and work on an exhibit on Black voting rights. And so I met with him, and he gave me a book and said, this is something that you're going to extract your script from. I remember the author's name was Holt. I can't remember his first name. I think it was Robert Holt. And so from there, he kind of paired me with one of the longtime volunteers, Margaret Zarif. And she collected images. I did some additional research and designed and installed that exhibit on voting rights. And he loved it.
And he hired you.
And so
and you've been there since.
Right. And he said, I need you to do one on Charles Drew. And I did that. And then he asked me to redesign the mobile unit, which traveled all around the state. And so I did that. And he said, well, you may as well stick around.
Right. We're going to keep you here.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to hear you talk about the things you were working on then, an exhibit about Black insurance companies, an exhibit about voting rights. That really does sum up the range of Dr. Wright's imagination and vision about what this could be, the full gamut of the Black experience. And that's really a good way to describe the museum.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Talk about, in those early days, though, what the museum was like and how different it is now. I mean, now it's basically like a monument, right? I mean, it's this wonderful physical space. Back then, it was a little more understated.
Yeah, it was located first in the basement of a 3-row house on West Grand Boulevard and Warren, right on the corner. It was Dr. Wright's residence. He and his family lived there. And so when he founded the museum, he set up exhibits in the basement. He eventually moved downtown, and basically went in and converted all of those spaces to gallery spaces. So when I started, part of my job too was to convert some spaces. So I worked with a carpenter, and we went in and tore out walls and did some plastering and converted some spaces. And so I started installing exhibits. It's a house, it's a 3-row house. So, when we had tours, you had to take them up the stairs, into the gallery, back out, and into the next building, and back out, and then into the next building and back out. Dr. Wright's sister volunteered with us at the time, Pearl Battle, and it was the two of us, conducting these tours through the building. And, we went from that to a structure that we built from the ground up in the Cultural Center that's occupied by CCS now on the corner of Frederick Douglass and Brush. And even before we moved into that building, plans were already underway for the Phyllis facility we're in right now.
For the museum itself.
Yes,
that everyone is so familiar with now.
Yes, So Dr. Wright had his vision, and then Coleman Young had his vision, and so they kind of merged. And Coleman Young came up with the funding to support the construction and to maintain the facility.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Talk about the difference between making exhibits in the basement of a 3-row house and the space you have now. I'm thinking of the Jefferson exhibit that was there just a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
The wonderful art and the costume exhibit that was there last year. I mean, these are large scale
Yes.
kinds of exhibits now. Very different from being in a basement.
It's a different world. Everything had to be put together by hand, and I'm taking little letters and creating, these introductory panels, and everything had to be constructed by hand back then. More time consuming. We were doing key lines for prints and all of that. So it was a different world. And of course, when you compare just the space, you're talking about a bathroom versus a mansion.
Right.
Right. So,
right.
But along with the change in facilities, you can bring in contractors, and so that's part of what I do is, do the elevations and floor plans and construction drawings, and they take those and build these platforms and cases. And
I mean, they're experiences, right?
Yes.
I mean, I always feel like you're walking through the subject matter
Yes.
when I'm there.
That's our goal.